Great work.
Great work. 3, 2. Great work. Just great work. Our best material is in the 10 seconds before we begin the podcast. All right, here we go. 3, 2. This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Friday, the real Friday, Quiz Friday, March 17th. And today's pod is the best one yet.
Stocks jumped because the banking system just did a trust fall.
Jack, what is going on over at First Republic Bank, man?
Everyone was worried that in the wake of Silicon Valley Bank's downfall, First Republic Bank would be next.
But just as Jack and I were about to record this podcast, boom, First Republic, they got $30 billion in deposits from 11 big U.S. banks.
It was a public show of support, and it seems to have worked.
Banks stick together. Ducks fly together. Jack, what's our first story for the pod?
Our first story is deja vu, because the U.S. government just told TikTok to sell itself or else it's banned.
All right, you've heard of too big to fail, but what about too cool to ban?
For our second story, we're looking at the appliance du jour. 60% of American homes now have air fryers.
And we've noticed there is a food fight going on between the air fryer and the Instapot.
And our third and final story, Ted Lasso Season 3 just premiered on Apple TV+.
And in one single episode, Apple achieved marketing nirvana.
But Yetis, before we hit that fantastic mix.
That was a great start to the pod. I love this mix to go into a weekend with. Great mix.
Go to your dresser, go to the bottom drawer, dig down and find that one green shirt that you own.
Okay, then go to the kitchen, eat some cabbage, and boil some bacon in a crock pot of Guinness.
Yetis, happy St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, we're pretty sure Carol from accounting definitely brought in some green cupcakes today.
But it's not just a lucky day for the Irish.
No. It turns out St. Patty's Day is also a lucky day for investors.
Historically, March 17th is one of the best performing days on Wall Street.
And statistically, St. Patty's Day is one of the most lucrative days in all of finance.
Get this, St. Patrick's Day is the 8th best performing day of the year in the stock markets.
We repeat, it is the 8th best day to trade stocks out of 252 days you can trade stocks.
Over the past 20 years, stocks have risen 80% of the time on St. Patty's Day.
Jack and I jumped in T-Boy style. Over the last 6 years, stocks have risen every day on this day on the dot.
80% of the time, it works every time.
And Yetis, if you don't believe us, check the Guinness Book of World Records, why don't you?
Its name is Guinness. We assume they're Irish too.
Green hats, green stocks, can't lose.
Lucky the Leprechaun is not after your Lucky Charms.
No, but Jack, he did put a pot of gold in the S&P 500 ETF.
And Nick, what's at the end of the rainbow?
Oh, Jack, that would be a diversified portfolio, that would be. Jack, let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in a dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, for the second time in 3 years, the President of the United States has threatened to ban TikTok.
So here's the question. Is TikTok too cool to ban?
Jack, flashback to August 2020. Where were we? What were we doing? What was happening? What were we covering on the pod?
I think I was sheltering in place, actually.
I think you were. We probably had cargo shorts on. It was crazy.
Well, that's when President Trump announced that TikTok had 45 days to rid itself of its Chinese ownership or else it's banned in the United States.
Now, we did some fun pods then because we were wondering, like, who is going to buy TikTok because of this threat?
It was a fun, like, sweepstakes to think about.
Is it going to be Microsoft? Is it going to be Oracle? Zuck? You got the guts to do it?
Well, it didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
TikTok was neither sold nor banned. And guess what? It's been on a tear ever since.
Well, just yesterday, we got the exact same sell yourself or get banned threat coming from the President of the United States.
Joe Biden this time.
And as of Thursday, the White House has not confirmed that they did this threat. But TikTok, interestingly,
they've confirmed it.
And we think we know why the White House is being quiet about their threat to ban TikTok.
But Jack, let's back it up for a second. Let's sprinkle on a little context here. Why all of the TikTok banning drama?
Here's a 45-second dance video to refresh your memory.
All right, Yetis, the first real concern here with TikTok is the old Trojan horse fear.
There is a concern that now that every American has downloaded the TikTok app, the Chinese government can start tracking Americans.
And then the Chinese government could start spreading propaganda through the TikTok videos.
That's the second concern. A geopolitical foe probably shouldn't control the top source of Americans' information.
And if you think about it, honestly, we never let the Soviet Union own CBS, would we, Jack?
Of course we wouldn't. And some think that China owning TikTok is the same scenario.
Well, Yetis, Jack and I told you back in January that some colleges in the United States have already banned TikTok.
If you're logged into campus Wi-Fi at some public universities, TikTok app does not load.
But here is the problem. All of those concerns, everything Jack and I just mentioned, like that Trojan horse fear, that was the same issue that we had 3 years ago. It hasn't changed.
And it didn't get banned then, so why would it get banned today?
Well, the answer is our takeaway. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at TikTok?
TikTok may be simply too popular to ban. Like, we've heard of too big to fail. This app may be too cool to ban.
Okay, Yeti. So would China ever sell TikTok to an American buyer? Honestly, Jack and I have thought about this, and we don't think so. Highly unlikely.
Put yourself in President Xi's shoes. Would you sell your best company to America, China's top geopolitical foe? Probably not.
Well, Xi and Xi Shoes would not do that. So the next step is if China won't sell TikTok, then the U.S. would have to act on its threat to ban TikTok.
And therein lies the problem.
Yes, it does,
TikTok
Jack.
is so popular, banning it could have huge short-term political consequences.
And unfortunately, politicians often don't focus on long-term issues. They're more focused on short-term political points.
Like Trump, President Biden threatened to ban TikTok.
And like Trump, Biden hopes he doesn't have to ban TikTok.
Because TikTok may be too popular to ban.
To fetch, to forbid. For our second story, the biggest trend in your kitchen right now, it's the air fryer.
But the cabinet is a zero-sum game, so watch out.
All right, Jack, to kick off this story, let's just get right to it. Can you serve us the hero statistic, the hero stat?
60% of U.S. households have an air fryer in the kitchen.
Yeah, they do.
I don't have one.
I don't either. Oh, God, we got to get on this, Jack. 3 out of 5 homes is frying with oxygen, baby.
Americans spent $1 billion last year on new air fryers so we could crisp a Brussels sprout without dipping it into any of that fatty oil.
I mean, honestly, you really haven't had a cauliflower until you've had it, chef's kiss, air fried.
Nestle calls the air fryer the biggest trend in modern cooking.
Okay, get this, Yetis. Air fryer sales are up 50% in just the last 3 years.
And to get fish fillet fryers' attention, Nestle is simply adding the label air fryer friendly to all their frozen foods.
For example, Jack, that new Nestle DiGiorno pizza, what does it say?
For the air fryer.
Jack, the new Nestle Hot Pocket, what does it say?
It's probably not a new Hot Pocket. It's just a box that says air fryer.
And yeah, you're still going to burn the roof of your mouth. Yeti's air fryers are the appliance du jour.
Yes, they're the Christmas gift you get your uncle because your uncle has everything else.
Only so many socks you can get Big Uncle Bobby.
Blenders were the appliance du jour of the 1990s.
Keurig K-Cups were the appliance du jour of the 2000s.
And SodaStream was the appliance du jour of the 2010s.
Well, now the air fryer has jumped ahead to become the number 3 kitchen appliance in America.
Wow.
For when the oven takes a little bit too long, but the microwave is a little bit too soggy.
Time to step up, popcorn machine. Time to step up.
But Yetis, here's what Jack and I found fascinating about this story. We've noticed that the cooking industry is a zero-sum game.
The kitchen is a zero-sum cabinet.
Because here's the question Jack and I were wondering. If we are all using air fryers more, then what kitchen appliance are we not using anymore?
What are we using less?
Well, Jack and I jumped in T-Boy style to the numbers, and we noticed there is a kitchen appliance that we're not using anymore.
Instapots.
Instapots. We're just not using them as much.
Air fryer's rise has been at Instapot's Detriment?
Yeah, I think it would be detriment. Yeah. 2020 was the ultimate year for Instapot. Instant Pot sales hit an all-time high during the pandemic.
Nearly $1 billion of sales of Instapots, so you could fast cook, slow cook pulled pork.
Well, since then, in just the last 3 years, Instapot sales have fallen 50%.
No more 4-hour chicken chili jambalaya.
Yeah, so Jack, what's the bottom line here for our people in the kitchen?
The 50% drop in Instapot sales coincides perfectly with the 50% jump in air fryer sales.
Ipso facto, it's a zero-sum cabinet. So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies in the back of the pantry?
It's easier to build a product than build a behavior.
Okay, Yetis, really interesting line Jack and I noticed from Nestle. They said that the best way to grow the top line of your company is to find a behavior that already exists.
It's easier to change a package or build a product than to change human behavior itself.
So the big money in big food isn't focused on creating the next air fryer. It's focused on building for the air fryer.
For instance, Kellogg is putting air fryer instructions on all their frozen products.
For example, Hormel Foods just launched an air fryer YouTube video series for their beef hash.
One more example, Tyson Chicken launched chicken strips especially for air fryer cooking.
And Jack, how are those specific air fryer chicken strips doing?
$100 million in sales of air fryer friendly chicken.
Besties, the most lucrative ideas, they don't have to create behaviors, they just have to feed them.
And now a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
Golf at 11 a.m., pickleball by 2.
Gotta see the grandkids, but I don't know if we'll have enough time.
You're probably not thinking about retiring to Del Boca Vista quite yet.
But you could be thinking about how to afford retirement.
So the newest product from Robinhood, the IRA.
The only individual retirement account with a 1% match on every eligible dollar you contribute every year. Limitations apply.
In an IRA, your money has tax-deferred or tax-free growth potential.
So older you can maybe play pickleball at 2 o'clock.
To get started, go to Robinhood.com/TBoy and get your first stock for free. Conditions apply.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY.
All investments involve risk. Contributions to and withdrawals from IRAs may entail tax consequences. Robinhood does not provide tax advice.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
For our third and final story to go into the weekend, Apple just dropped the 3rd season of Ted Lasso and achieved marketing nirvana.
How did they pull it off?
How'd they do it, Jack?
With the non-commercial commercial.
The non-commercial commercial. But first, Yetis, look, Jack and I just got to say it. The most popular soccer club in the United States, it's fictional.
It's fictional because it's AFC Richmond, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? That is the club that is managed by protagonist Ted Lasso and Apple TV Plus's biggest hit, Ted Lasso.
Season 3 of Ted Lasso dropped Wednesday with episode 1, and we watched it.
How we feeling? How you feeling about this?
Rebecca let Ted be Ted.
We're feeling good about episode 1, season 3.
And Apple achieved what we're calling marketing nirvana.
Marketing nirvana. Now, Yetis, this wasn't thanks to Rebecca's revenge on Rupert.
Or Nate's misplaced resentment against Ted.
Or Roy Kent's leather everything.
No. It's because every moment of the 46-minute viewing experience showcased a different element of the Apple ecosystem.
It did it subtly, it did it subliminally, it even did it explicitly.
Apple products transcended the plot.
Okay, Jack, it feels like we should back this up with some evidence. For example, Apple opened with an explicit Apple marketing message at the beginning of Ted Lasso.
There was a promotion before the show for the MLS Pass, which you can subscribe to on Apple TV.
Tim Cook figures, you're watching a show about fake soccer, you'll probably buy a subscription to watch real soccer on Apple too.
Then the episode began, and throughout the episode were subtle instances of Apple marketing.
For instance, Ted tells his son to download movies for his long flight on his iPad.
He didn't say download movies on your tablet. Didn't say do it on your phone. He gave the perfect use case. Download movies for the iPad because you're going to be on a flight.
And finally, there was some subliminal Apple marketing that made its way into Ted Lasso.
When Ted's son landed back in Kansas City,
This is great.
he FaceTimes with him.
Interesting.
But they didn't say FaceTime.
Right.
They didn't say, let's FaceTime each other, son. And there was no Apple marketing or logos anywhere on screen.
Instead, what you heard was the trademark audio of an Apple FaceTime phone call.
You know that sound.
You've heard it. We heard it. Let's, can we do that? Boom, that's the one. That's it. Well, Apple just marketed its whole ecosystem through the show that you love. What is that, Jack?
What we just saw was marketing nirvana.
Okay, episode 3, we better see an Apple car. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies in the advertising industry?
Consumers hate commercials, but they love non-commercial commercials.
Now, Yetis, the wildest part of Apple's marketing nirvana is that there were no commercials. None. Zero.
Apple TV Plus is not an ad-supported streamer. It feels premium because there's no commercial breaks.
And yet, Apple managed to sprinkle in non-intrusive organic marketing moments throughout the Ted Lasso show.
Nick, after Brooks was born, we stayed in the mother and baby's wing of the hospital overnight.
Right, and then you told me who did that wing of the hospital? Who made that wing?
The whole wing was funded, apparently, by Party City.
Oh, interesting connection there.
I saw the sign Party City for those crucial first moments of Wilder's life. Sorry, Brooks's life.
You're like, Tommy, oh my God.
Nick, I saw the Party City sign every time I went to the elevator, and I said a mental thank you to Party City.
Boom, it's the same thing with Apple and the non-commercial commercials, right, Jack?
I'm going to buy birthday presents for Brooks's first birthday at Party City now.
Yetis, here's the deal. Consumers hate commercials.
But they love a non-commercial commercial.
Jack, can you whip up the takeaways for us for the Real Friday?
President Biden has told TikTok it needs to sell itself or else it gets banned.
But TikTok may be too popular to ban. It may be too lit to prohibit.
For our second story, air fryers are replacing Instapots in America's cabinets.
Because it's easier to create a product than to create a behavior.
And our third and final story. In the first episode of Ted Lasso Season 3, Apple achieved marketing nirvana.
People hate commercials, but they love non-commercial commercials. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by Charlotte Casimir, the founder of Watcha in New York City.
You've heard that birds of a feather stay together.
But that is literally the case for flamingos.
That's right. Flamingos form friendship groups based on common personality traits.
Flamingos kind of create cliques. They're a little bit like high schoolers at the lunch table, aren't they, Jack?
Scientists discovered that louder flamingos stuck with louder flamingos.
And they discovered that smaller flamingos hung around with smaller flamingos.
And they discovered that antisocial flamingos, well, they don't hang out with anyone.
Yeah, which means they're all hanging out together.
They're on Reddit all day instead.
Yeah, they are. The flamingos, they're kind of like the plastics, if you think about it.
New Year's resolution for every flamingo?
Yeah, Jack.
Fly with other feathers.
Get out of your comfort zone. Fly with some other feathers. Yetis, you looked fantastic for this short week. Jack, you look amazing for a short amount of sleep.
Dude, thank you.
Amazing first week back.
2 hours at a time. Those hours have added up.
Those hours have added up. Now, Yetis, if you have not yet, you should absolutely, definitely play our weekly T-Boy Pop Biz Pop Quiz.
Go.tboypod.com. 5 questions about this week's takeaways.
We also got a link in this episode description. It's the Pop Biz Pop Quiz.
Nick and I will see you Monday.
Can't wait. And before we go, good luck to Yeti Robbie Nepomuceno, who's running in the Los Angeles Marathon this weekend.
And fly like a bird to Allie Myers, who's turning 27 while running a half marathon this weekend.
And John Ciapno and Brad Hendry are getting married this weekend at the Charter Oak Restaurant in Napa. Not too shabby. That is a fantastic spot.
And happy birthday to Jolas Colarina in the Philippines.
And a happy 30th birthday to Olivier over in New York City.
And happy birthday to Chang Jun Lee in Boston, Mass.
Just outside Boston. And Savage Twomey, enjoy that birthday hanging out in your hometown of Las Vegas.
Happy 13th birthday to Gabriella Aguado, who's on her way to school with her dad down in Miami, Florida.
And Ethan Lane Ward, enjoy celebrating that 9th birthday with your grandparents at your grandparents' house.
Where's the party? It's in Warsaw, Missouri. And to anyone else celebrating something today, make it a T-Boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. Nick and I both own stock of Apple and Robinhood, and we both own ETFs of the S&P 500. And now, a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
Not spending money can be tough. We're all tempted by that top we just saw on TikTok.
Even harder, saving money for when you're 60.
But what if you got paid money to save money?
Robinhood Retirement offers the only IRA that does that on every eligible contribution every year.
For every eligible dollar you contribute to your retirement fund, they match 1% of it. No employer necessary. Limitations apply.
To get started, go to Robinhood.com/TBoy and get your first stock for free. Conditions apply.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY.
All investments involve risk. Contributions to and withdrawals from IRAs may entail tax consequences. Robinhood does not provide tax advice.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
I
Great
love
job.
how you turned up the
Whoa.
volume on that at the end there.
I mean, your Cookie Crisp inspired me. I mean, it's kind of like I gotta say, if you want to feel comfortable doing a big Cookie Crisp, we gotta go big on some other words too, Jack.